You are listening to the default audio track, which includes instructional narrative for this video. If you'd like to turn off the instructional audio, simply press the audio button on your DVD remote, and you can turn this off, listen to just music, or press it a third time, and you'll just get the sounds of the ride. Welcome to Anaerobic 3 Hilly Rolls. This workout is taking place today in Wisconsin. We're just over the Minnesota border, east of St. Paul, Minneapolis, about 45 minutes or so. And we are lucky enough to have some good friends who organize this ride, and got a nice group of people together. So we'll be rolling our way through the country, farmlands of Wisconsin. Let's use this time to just warm up, and eventually we want to raise our heart rate up to about 80% of max, so we can spin it in a fairly easy gear, get those legs warmed up, and this ride started out pretty fast, so didn't want to do that to you. So the workout data is off screen right now. And we'll be warming up for about 10 minutes. Get those heart rate monitors registering. If you have a heart rate monitor that will register as a percent of max, that will be real helpful. Because when we're doing the intervals, The heart rate and efforts change very rapidly. And it's hard to, well, if you're doing beats per minute, it might be hard to calculate what your effort should be. Yep, these guys are setting a pretty brisk pace here. And we're just gonna sit on the wheel. And let the guy up front do all the work. Let's get our cadence up to around 90 to 100 RPM. Well, for those of you who have purchased other BitBot videos, I hope I can provide some new information mixed in with some old. These training videos, or the narrative, I try to cover more than just yelling at you, telling you to get out of the saddle and work harder, although I do help you become aware of some of the hills and harder efforts. But I also like to talk about the ride, the people, and what the workout is designed to help you with and improve on. We're gonna kick it into a pretty good gear here and start working out pretty hard. So there's our workout data, and let's just go ahead and start following those gear ratios and add some resistance. Don't forget to drink your water. A water bottle that pops up should tell you to do that. We're working out pretty hard here. Getting our heart rate up. Stay on that wheel. Lower our effort. Soft pedal a bit. Let some of the group catch up. Don't let the heart rate plummet too quickly. A little hill here. So big ring up front. You gotta be careful. If you have a compact setup, then the gear ratio discrepancy can make it difficult. All right, let's catch our breath. Soft pedal. The gear ratios are calculated if you have like a 40-50, 42-50, 52. Not like a 39-53. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. If you do, then you know what I'm talking about. So, this video is named Hillervals. It's a mix between an interval workout and a natural setting in the hills of Wisconsin, Minnesota. I was surprised by the number of hills and also how steep they got in places. And being down near sea level, I had a little more spunk than usual, so I was hitting the hills pretty hard and letting the heart rate just fly on up. So you'll see some pretty high heart rates, high efforts in spots, followed by rest and recovery. Here's a little effort here as we get back on the group coming past us. So slowly accelerate. Let your cadence back up. Let your heart rate gradually come up as well. And descending. This is zero cadence. Well, you can coast. you're on a spin bike, I'd recommend just soft pedaling. Take off all of your resistance and just give your legs a break. Well, the way I like to approach the information in these rides is pretend I'm talking to somebody with no experience in cycling or very little. So if you have a lot of miles under your belt and I'm talking to you about what a big gear means, then I'm sorry. That's offensive. But otherwise, you might not know what I'm talking about. For example, earlier I said, get on a wheel and stay on that wheel. Well, that means that we want to get into cyclist draft. Here's a hill. Let's get our big ring up front and work up to the top of it, raising our heart rate rapidly, 90% of max. Good climbing cadence, 75 to 80 RPM. And back down. So when we say get on a wheel, take my wheel, that means get close enough behind the rider in front of you that you feel that wind resistance cutting down. You'll save about 60% energy if you're in a nice tight draft. Add some resistance here. We're gonna pop it up this hill. Big gear. Let's even get out of the saddle here. And we're gonna work up to the wheels in front of us. Keep pumping up it. Lots of positive resistance in the legs. Really feeling the hill. Heart rate should be shooting up. I'm gonna work hard here. Keep the effort up. That tower is the top. There they are. take off some resistance. Slowly let your heart rate slow up. We're still pedaling. We're not working as hard, but it takes a while to recover your heart rate down to aerobic levels. Especially when you're jumping from the red zone and you're still pedaling after you hit that red zone. And now let's put in an easier gear. Slow our cadence down. Or pick it up. Easy enough gear that you can follow the cadence and heart rate at the same time. So if you haven't already noticed, I'm on the trainer right with you. So I'm experiencing the same pain and difficulty as you are. And when we start hitting those red zone efforts, I'm not going to be able to talk much. So when we're resting, I'll try and spit out some information for you. So interval training, if you haven't already figured it out, is basically a systematic and methodological way to work up to your maximum and then recover. And so typically, if you're out on the road and you're doing an interval workout, you're finding a even terrain, something that's consistently flat or consistently uphill, but you're not looking for too much variation in terrain. And then you're usually doing about a 15-20 second interval with about 3 minutes of recovery, meaning that in that 15-20 seconds you're applying maximum effort, trying to get up to 100% of your max heart rate, and then you stop and you recover. And it's a real important training technique, especially for racing, because what you're trying to do is increase your max threshold. You're increasing your pain threshold, and you're actually training your max heart rate. And so if you do enough intervals, your max heart rate at the beginning of the season will be lower than at the end, especially if you're racing. And you'd be surprised at how effective it is. And having that little extra gas in the engine when the folks in front of you are accelerating up a hill or sprinting to a finish line is critical if you want to win a race. Little hill here, we can add some resistance. Nice hill climb gear. Cadence around 80. Heart rate should just go right up. And taking it off and recovering. We can either soft pedal through these coasting sections, which I prefer, or if you really need that break, go ahead and rest and stop pedaling. Normally, I don't recommend interval training for people who are just beginning their cycling hobby activity. Little hill here. Let's feel it in the legs just a bit. A little bit more. Training your max heart rate, or trying to increase your max heart rate when you're just trying to build a base or a foundation of fitness isn't going to do a whole heck of a lot of good. It'll wear you out, and it might demotivate you, because you'll be too sore to function the next day. And cycling is really a sport of going day to day and trying to ride a little bit every day, with maybe a couple days off. Typically our cycling routine varies, and we do something a little different each day. And true interval training will really kill you. It hurts, and it's really hard to recover after it, and that's what it's designed for. Next day you should be walking a little funny, and the day after a true interval workout probably be a good recovery day. Just do a really gentle ride. So hill intervals, what are those? It's kind of a in between a interval workout, a road ride, and a endurance ride. And basically when you're riding on the roads, typically you don't have something perfectly flat unless you live in Modesto. And your efforts are dictated by people and hills. So this kind of type of workout today will help prepare you for variable terrains and variable efforts. Some of the intervals that we will do will get pretty high. It'll be in the 90 to 95% of max. And then you rest. But there's nothing consistent about how long you work, because the effort is dictated by the length of the climb or the guys in front of you, and so is the recovery. How to use the dash. The dashboard is composed of a number of different tools that provide data which allow you to emulate the physical demands of the ride. The first and most important tool on the dash is the effort meter. The effort meter provides a graphical representation of how hard you should be working during a specific part of the ride. In this video, we're ascending a small climb while trying to keep a good pace for other riders behind us. Watch how the effort increases as we continue to ascend. The effort meter is color-coded to help you quickly know what zone you should be training in. Each zone is based on a percentage of your maximum effort. Be aware that the difficulty of each video is greatly dependent on the time spent in each zone. At the top of the effort meter is your heart rate goal displayed as a percentage of your max. Percent of max is calculated as your actual heart rate divided by your max. This value can be used to challenge yourself further by teaching your body how to precisely regulate efforts. Some heart rate monitors allow you to input your max heart rate and then automatically calculate your percentage of max. The gear ratio and resistance indicator provides you with two ways to determine what gear or what resistance you should be working at. The gear ratio is the best way to make changes in resistance if you're on your bike and trainer. With shifters, you can quickly make changes to gearing to simulate changes in pedaling effort. This animation provides an idea of how the gear ratio works. Notice how above the blue line, the numbers are ascending from 1 to 10. This corresponds to the gear that's in your rear cassette. Below the blue line are the two rings in the front, 42 being the small ring, 52 being the large. The resistance value is a tool to be used if you're on a spin bike. Most spinners are comfortable with a 1 to 10 scale used in classes. Basically, a 1 is a soft pedaling, easy spin resistance, whereas a 10 is a slow, leg-churning, difficult grind where you have to force the crank arms to turn. The cadence value allows you to identify what your pedaling cadence should be. While the cadence, resistance, and heart rate indicators attempt to synchronize, often it's difficult to match everything at the same time. Start out using either cadence or resistance while matching the effort goals. Much like the effort tool, the power tool provides a graphical representation of how much power the cyclist is producing during a given time. The power tool is a nice alternative or backup to the resistance and gear ratio tools. The dashboard has 3 graphs. These are a really cool way to find out where you're located along the timeline of the ride. The graphs are divided by a bar, showing you where you're located along them. The top graph displays a hill profile. The middle graph displays the effort profile, and the bottom displays the power profile. Keeping your eyes on these are a great way to identify changes as they approach. The moving map provides some nice information about where you're cycling. Roads, topography, landmarks, rivers, lakes, and more can be identified so you don't feel lost on the ride. Also note, north is always up. I'm done. Have a great workout.